All right, now we will shift gears to talk about env variables. Env is a short term for environment variables. And what do you mean by environment variables? Okay, if you go to your shell prompt, all right, and if you just type env, you will get, again, let me type it again, env. Okay, if you type that command, it'll get you a lot of variable names. Home is the path, my home directory, my login name, my present working directory is my where this particular directory is. It will change every time you do that. My PWD changes. Now I am at my home directory. If you see that, PWD is my home directory. If I change it to C program and type env, my PWD changes. If you look at that, all right. So if I go back to get env, and if I do env, my PWD has changed to different directory. So these are called environment variables. Okay, if you go a little further up, it'll set a lot of variables in this here. My shell, what kind of shell I'm using. I'm using a bash shell. If you want to know what kind of shell, one way is to say echo shell. It'll tell you what the shell you are using. Okay, so these are something called shell commands. And just to want to iterate, this is your operating system. Okay, and the interface to you is the shell commands, right? This is a shell window or shell commands, right? And you interface with the shell and back and forth, and the shell interfaces with the operating system, gets you everything, even simple commands called ls. Everything is interfaces with the operating system and gets you the results, right? And whenever you run a C program, say for example, before we go there, so this shell command has this env variable set. Okay, env variable set, all this PWD and all that, and you can get the values of them by just typing, for instance here, echo PWD. It will tell you what your directory is. This is basically getting it from the env variables. Okay, so these env variables will persist for you, will be there for you for your access. And whenever you run a C program, okay, let's say on this here you do a dot out, right? If you give a command called a dot out, this one spawns a child process. Okay, a child process, and your program gets executed, and when your program is done, it goes back to the shell command, to shell prompt. Okay, so this is the parent process that's you are interfacing, and whenever you do a dot out or any command that you do, any program that you run, the shell command creates a child process and your program is run on that shell process, and when your program is done, control is taken to the parent shell command, shell window. Okay, shell process. So that is how it works. And this env variables, if you want to access this env variables, it is allowed here, allowed to access env variables. All right, and whenever you create some env variables here, when you create them, they are not visible here, they die, right? When your program is done, done, and this whatever you do will all vanish away and go back to the original setup you have. Okay, so that is the how it works, and the env variables are accessible within your program. Okay, we are going to look into that, accessing these variables inside your program. They are very, very essential for any software engineering, software design, software releases, management, everything. So these env variables are very key for your software development. Okay, now that we know that these are important, we need to learn them. Let's move on. Okay, so we know how to get them, right? How to see them. All right, you can set variables on your own too. For example, set you can do export. Export is the best way. Export CS as equal whatever 046. If I do that, that's the environment variable. I'll persist here. Okay, so now if you do a env, you see that thing is here. That's the name, CSCI equal to 4046. All right, so now you created a env variable by on the shell command. Now I can do unset CSCI, right, and you remove them. So now if you go back to env, you will not see that, you will never see that. Okay, so you can create them or destroy them, right? So those are the shell commands. So now I want to create in here, say export turn on testing equal, say yes. So I'm turning on testing means I'm creating a new variable called turn on testing. I'm setting it to yes. Okay, and so now if you go back here, it will be the turn on testing. So now we are going to run our programs in this environment variable set to yes. Okay, so let's go back. All right, now I'm going to remove this guy for now. All right, so you have created in the shell, you have created turn on testing. You set it yes, right? And these are the different env variables. We are not really worried about rest of them. Okay, so for now we just, these are shell environment variables. Okay, variables, let's keep it that way for now. And in your case, in our case, now for example, before we go into how do we access them in our C program, the cool thing is about it, we can access these variables in our C program using functions called getenv. Or you want to set through a program, you can do set env or put env. Okay, right? So you can go to man pages, say man get env. So man get env tells you, it asks you what is the parameter. In our case, turn on testing, right? This is our environment variable. Turn on testing is that. And when you send that parameter and call getenv, it returns a pointer to the value. All right? See here. Returns a pointer to the corresponding value string. If you go back, if you just see return value, returns a pointer to the environment function, returns a pointer to the value in the environment, or null if there is no match. You see, this is the key. It returns a pointer to the value. So let's see what it is all about, right? So let's write a function to test that, right? And before we get there, write the function. So I told you what functions we have. Let me go back from here. So those are the functions that you would be using in a normal setup to test it or to release whatever it is. We talked about all this, right? Okay. So we also saw what the man pages are, right, for different things. And how do we set the environment variable is, I created one. Is it the same as what we have? Turn on testing. Yeah, turn on testing. Good. So we have that. And so we also saw that when you go back to your environment, you should be able to see that, right? Okay. So let's write a C program. All right. So we have a program that we wrote that has ABC, NBC and all that, right? All right. So now I have compiled this and I got ABC, NBC. And the now I'll go back here. See here, my environment is variable is S, right? So that means I don't want to enter this manual. I want the computer to do it for me, right? So the way I would do that is I come here, check for turn on testing. It's automated testing, right? So char pointer equal getenv turn on testing. All right. If pointer is not equal to null, that means something is there for me, and string compare pointer s equal 0. You guys told me before that you can do string compare. So I have done both. If it is true, that means if turn on testing is true, I am going to enter, the computer is going to enter 0 for the winner or 0 for the loser, right? So I'm going to turn on that. So for that I need to do a sran time null is a seed random. seed value for random generator, right? And here I'm going to say print not going to do end of line, rand is 0 or 1, right? See that? So so basically what it is if I turn on the flag to yes, let the computer generate the results for me. Random generations, right? I'm going to just generate randomly. You see that? So now I go back and I test my program. You see that? It generated randomly. Now if I run it again, it will see the randomness. NBC, now ABC 1, previously TBS 1. I'll generate one more time. Again NBC, ABC 1. Now TBS is 1. See that now CBS is 1. So it generates depending upon, you see that? Now both of them 1. So look at how the computer is generating the results for me, right? Now I go back, let's say the same program, okay? I didn't change my program. I left my program right there. Now I go back and I am releasing to production, right? Now I'm going to do an unset, turn on testing to no. That means no more testing involved. Oh. All right, unset. Now if you go back to env, you will not have seen that. Now if you see compile, you don't have to compile anything. The same a.out, right? a.out will work for me, and see here, the computer does not generate anything for me no matter what I do. So the customer has to enter the results. Now if you want the computer to enter the results randomly, you just go back and say set turn on testing equal to S. This is how corporations do it, okay? I say set or unset. Export is good. This is how corporations change the environment to run your program without compilation, okay? Now if I do a.out, you see that. See that? So just by changing the value of the environment variable, you can play around your software. I don't compile again and again. All I did was just put the code once and write and check the value of the env, and I get the things I want. It's pretty cool. All right, and you can use set env also to check, to turn on certain things and unset. You can do a lot of stuff depending upon your necessity. The same C program, like for example in the same C program, right, let's say a.out or some whatever, I can do a set env and run all my testing and unset at the end of it and get out, right? So this is all test environment code I can run. So you can do a lot of tweak your software using these variables, using these functions. It's very key for software development. Okay, thank you. I'll upload this program again to your canvas.